Denise. Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. Denise. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party.
I gotta say, I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. What is up, everyone? Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. I'm your host, Denise Salcedo, and today it is the November 26th edition. We are going to be chatting WWE SmackDown and AEW Rampage here tonight. Now, before we get started, if you're popping onto the stream and you're like, whoa, Denise looks different. Full disclosure, everybody, I am sick, but I am here today to do this show. So hopefully I don't just pass out in the middle of the stream. I've been sick since the day before yesterday. It's just a cold. Don't worry. I got tested. I'm okay on that end of things, but I do have a cold. So hopefully I make it through the stream all in one piece. But I want to thank you guys so much for coming in. I've been super busy the last 2 weeks. I've been doing all of these shows, so I haven't been able to do my Friday show the last 2 weeks. So I definitely did not want to miss out this week. I was not going to let a cold stop me from doing this show. So I am back this week to talk SmackDown and Rampage, like I just mentioned. Now, before we get started, before we go through each and every single thing that happened on today's shows, I do want to let you guys all know that this is a very interactive show. Please make sure to take part in the chat, guys. The more you take part in the chat, the more enjoyable this is, and the more thoughts and opinions we get on this show. Additionally, if you guys want to send in a super chat, you definitely can. If you send in a super chat, I will read your comments, questions, or statements on the air. Additionally, I do get to keep 100% of all the proceeds from super chats. So if you do send them in, they really help me out a whole lot. But let's get into this, guys, in just a second. I'm going to start off the night today talking about SmackDown, and then we're going to go into Rampage. Overall, I thought we had a decent night of shows overall, but I wouldn't say this was the greatest SmackDown, and I wouldn't say this was the greatest episode of AEW Rampage. So I kind of feel like we had two shows that were on one hand, you had SmackDown that was kind of not that great at all. A very generic, formulaic show with some interesting stuff sprinkled in there. Then we had AEW Rampage. It was like an night. We got two good matches, I would say. And I mean, for the most part, we did get a lot of different things that we're going to talk about. So we will go over that in just a second. But thank you so much to Brandon Rosen for sending in our first super chat of the night, who says, go buy yourself some cold medicine, Denise. I've been drinking Dayquil since yesterday, guys, and I have been feeling for the most part, I've been feeling okay, but right now I feel really, really hot. And you're probably thinking, Denise, take off your sweater if you're feeling really, really hot. But if I take off my sweater, I'll start coughing. So I cannot do that. It's been terrible. I hate having a cold. It's been a while since I've had a cold. But here we go. Let's get into the show, guys. Let's get into the action. We're going to kick things off with SmackDown here today. And let's see what we got. So we kicked off the night with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns kicking off the night. Here's the thing, guys. This was something that, obviously played throughout the entire night of SmackDown. That's usually what they do with Roman Reigns. He kicks us off the show, and usually we see it, Roman Reigns and the Bloodline and Kayla Braxton and Paul Heyman and all of that stuff interweaved into the show. And so you kick things off with essentially the tone of, or you can say the theme of the night was really whether or not the rumors of Brock Lesnar appearing on the show, or what the rumors of Brock Lesnar, with his suspension being lifted, whether or not that was going to happen or not. So literally, the first segment of SmackDown is just Paul Heyman scolding Kayla Braxton like a child. We do love the interactions between Kayla Braxton and Paul Heyman. They do have some pretty solid interactions with them together, but he's literally just yelling at her. He's asking her, about where she's getting these, why is she talking about these rumors about Brock Lesnar? And then the fans start booing, but the fans are booing Paul Heyman and they're booing Roman Reigns. And obviously, Paul Heyman's going to be like, well, why are you guys booing Kayla? Do not boo Kayla. And he just continues on pretty much like torturing her, practically spitting in her face, telling her she's not a legit journalist for using Instagram filters, etc. And then Roman Reigns takes the mic and he basically says, quote, rumors give false hope. Compared to me, everyone here is a loser. I've beaten them all, and Brock Lesnar is the number one loser around here. And then Roman Reigns essentially calls out management for putting on what they're going to put on what he says was a BS, Black Friday Battle Royal. So he did not like the idea of that. And he said that it's a joke that management is doing this just because he's essentially beaten everybody and all the losers, etc., saying he's running laps around the WWE SmackDown, which is pretty true, guys. He has essentially at this point beaten anybody that is worth beating on SmackDown, which is kind of bringing up like in a whole entire different topic within itself. But basically, he closes out this promo by saying that when he's done with WWE, which might be sooner rather than later, so teasing leaving WWE and saying that the world is going to essentially acknowledge him. So in terms of like major promos on Roman Reigns' part, this wasn't it. It was just a basic, simple promo to kick off the night. Mostly really here, just kind of kicking things off with Paul Heyman and Kayla Braxton. But here's the thing about all of this though, guys, is that there is so much truth to what Roman Reigns said on here. This is what's sad, is that he's coming on here and he's basically saying that this is embarrassing for management because they don't got anybody for him. But it's true. It legitimately is true. There is nobody for Roman Reigns that is, you can say, credible enough, a big enough challenger, someone you actually believe is going to defeat Roman Reigns besides Drew McIntyre. Besides Drew McIntyre, there is really nobody there. So it kind of sucks that there really is a lot of truth to what we got in this opening promo. But guys, send in your thoughts. How did you feel about this opening with Roman Reigns? And then we'll go ahead and kick off into the next thing. Mike M says Kayla should have smacked Paul Heyman. I think at some point, come on, Kayla Braxton, she's got to get like something in on Paul Heyman. Damn. Punch the guy, throw a pie in his face. At this point, we'll take anything. Brandon Rosen says, like a child, more like a stalker. There's a segment later on in the night where Paul Heyman creeps up on Kayla Braxton from behind, and it looks very, very awkward because the whole time he's like talking to her while he's behind her, and I'm like, I don't like that. Definitely did not like that. But let's see what we got here. We got a comment from Sour Machine Gun who says Kayla's going to mess around and wind up becoming Brock's new advocate by the end of this story. All right, guys, let's jump into the next match here. We had Jeff Hardy, Drew McIntyre versus Baron Corbin and Madcap Moss. So this was obviously a great reception for Jeff Hardy, given, North Carolina. All of that was good. This match was decent, guys. Like it kind of was like it was like a house show match, to be honest. Like I have not been interested in anything that they've been doing with Baron Corbin or this Madcap Moss thing. But from the sounds of it, I don't know if they piped in the crowd sound. They probably did. I have no idea. But either way, like people sounded like they were interested in this match. Whether or not it was piped in, I don't know. But this match, the reason why it was fun was really because they gave Jeff Hardy a lot throughout this match, and you do like to see Jeff Hardy and Drew McIntyre teaming, so that made it worth it, guys. But other than that, we do get to see Drew hit the Claymore kick on Moss, and then Jeff Hardy goes to the top, hits the Swanton for the win. People were just excited to see Jeff Hardy. That was kind of about it. But if you're watching, this is like, it's like an okay match, but kind of pointless because you're not really going anywhere with this story. So that's like really the only issue here. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and jump into the next topic. For those of you asking if I've done AEW yet, I'm going to save AEW till after SmackDown, but the SmackDown review will be pretty quickly. Or not too quick, but quick enough. All right, guys, this next one, I'm going to have to vent a little bit here, okay? bear with me here. Ridge Holland versus Cesaro. I said on Twitter that I was going to have a lot to say about this match, and I kind of feel like I do. But here's the issue with what went down with Ridge Holland and Cesaro. So this is Ridge Holland's in-ring debut on SmackDown, okay? Last week, he essentially ended up helping Sheamus get that win in his match. Okay, so now Ridge Holland and Sheamus are sort of an item in the sense of now they are working together. It seems like Sheamus is sort of like this, not like a mouthpiece for him because he's not like a manager or anything like that for him, but they're definitely friends and they're definitely, working together because during this match, you had Sheamus on commentary. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm not necessarily in love with the idea of Ridge Holland and Sheamus being paired up together. For a second, like you look at them, right? And based on their characters and based on, how they act in the ring, you'd think, okay, maybe it might be a good idea to partner up Ridge Holland and Sheamus. Now, the only reason I don't necessarily think this is a great idea is you can go either way here. This could be a really good idea to have Ridge Holland paired up with Sheamus because at the end of the day, Sheamus is good at speaking. He's a pretty decent character, etc. Ridge Holland obviously still trying to, find himself a little bit there. He's got the look, he's got the total package, but there still needs to be a little bit more of character work and character development on Ridge Holland's part. Okay, so you might think, all right, on that end, it may be a good thing to have him paired up with Sheamus. But then on the other side of things, this can kind of sort of pigeonhole Ridge Holland in the sense where he could have been brought in as like, look at Ridge Holland, okay? Look at him. The guy has a great freaking look. If you highlight his positives, he is also good in the ring too. Like he's decent enough to get by, etc. Right? Okay, so for me, I think I would have preferred for them to do kind of like go a different direction. Don't necessarily pair him in with Sheamus because for me, pairing him in with Sheamus sort of boxes him into what Sheamus is doing. And Sheamus is not necessarily that over on the roster. He's sort of been like, floating around as well. So I didn't necessarily feel that pairing him with Sheamus was the best thing to do. But anyways, they did it and I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. Sheamus is great on commentary. Fine, cool. So during this match, the things that I liked about this match is there were moments where they actually did show Ridge Holland's strengths. They had him take out Cesaro underneath his feet. Obviously, Cesaro's very aggressive, so he kicked off this match with a bunch of uppercuts on Ridge Holland, but they did give Ridge Holland, a little bit of action here. Sheamus distracts Cesaro, so Ridge Holland is able to essentially get in his own couple of uppercuts on him. And then again, like I said, taking him out from underneath his feet. Then he clotheslines him as well. He headbutts Cesaro. He hits him with a belly-to-belly suplex on Cesaro. And he starts to be a little bit more aggressive. And you start to see that exchange between Cesaro and Ridge Holland. But then, for the win, we essentially see Cesaro roll up Ridge Holland and get the win in this match. Now, I'm sorry, but I don't understand how Ridge Holland is supposed to get over. And here's the thing too, like in my recap of this match, I mentioned all of the moments in which Ridge Holland kind of had the offense in this match, kind of had like the upper hand in this match, but it wasn't like he necessarily dominated this match either. He did not dominate this match. So what you had here was like a decent performance by Ridge Holland, like a decent enough performance that showed a little bit of what he can do. But then you got the guy in his in-ring debut getting rolled up in a pin and essentially losing in his in-ring debut. So now you're telling me as a viewer, why exactly should I be excited about Ridge Holland? Why the viewer watching, why should I be interested in Ridge Holland? Like you come in here, you pair him up with Sheamus. Okay, great. Sheamus is doing, the majority of the talking here. And then you have him essentially lose to Cesaro. Like, given the fact, like, if you didn't want him to lose to Cesaro, I'm pretty sure they could have pulled up some other guy on the roster to essentially give Ridge Holland this win. I mean, a win. I just do not think that it was the right call to have Ridge Holland, a guy who's trying to get himself established here on the roster, one of the only guys that was one of the few guys that's left that was actually drafted from NXT over to SmackDown, since we all know that Hit Row is long gone. One of the few guys that essentially got called up to the main roster and is now getting beaten in his in-ring debut. And additionally, we go back to the situation with Roman Reigns. He's got no hot challengers. So it's like, how are you going to create new people if you're just like essentially having them lose in their in-ring debut? So that's how I feel about that. I think they could have actually made this a stronger performance and a stronger main roster debut for Ridge Holland. So thoughts, guys? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think I'm being too hard? Do you think I'm totally wrong? Or what do you guys think? Send in your thoughts. Let's get some comments in here. Let's get the conversation going here. All right, we got a super chat from Cameron Mumford who says, not really surprised Ridge lost in his debut match. What is it with WWE giving this kind of treatment of NXT talent? Makes me afraid for Xia Li. And we'll talk about Xia Li in just a moment, but I personally feel like they have so much, like there's a lot of potential with Ridge Holland, and we need more people. Like legitimately, I was looking through the SmackDown roster here today, like prior to this, and we're going to talk about this more when we actually get to the Battle Royal, but there really is limited options, guys. Like they need bigger stars and more like young and up and coming stars. It feels like slim pickings. It really feels like slim pickings there. AFC and TP says, surprise roll up, the 3 deadliest words in sports entertainment. Jesus, I hate to point out how accurate that actually is. It's a running joke now, but it feels very accurate. I got a lot of people on here basically saying agree, shouldn't have lost. Basically saying I do not compare his fate the same as Karrion Kross, because when Karrion Kross lost, he was NXT champion. That's a totally different story. Definitely a different story here. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on from this here. Let's get into this Thanksgiving leftovers throwdown between Rick Boogs and no longer Angel Garza, just Angel. Two charismatic guys in this ring. Rick Boogs and Angel Garza are two good talents that, if they are utilized properly, could definitely be, top guys in their own right. Very different types of talents that could bring something very different to the roster. Rick Boogs is very strong. We've seen that. I mean, just the way that he was manhandling Angel. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep calling him Angel Garza, guys. It's going to take me a while just to call him Angel. The way that he was essentially manhandling him was very, very entertaining. The way that he was just like basically holding him up like a doll. And obviously, Angel Garza here getting the win in this match. I think he definitely needed. He had just taken a loss to Shinsuke Nakamura. I think that out of both of these guys, it was the right call to have Angel Garza take this win. I also did enjoy the spot where Humberto Carrillo was essentially playing the guitar and ends up going through the table at the hands of Shinsuke Nakamura. That was a pretty good moment as well. But overall, I think if they really focus on guys like Angel and Rick Boogs, you can have something there. Like, start building these guys up into something here. Also, at this point throughout the show, we kind of had like so many video packages. I feel like we need to essentially like chill a little bit on the video packages. We had a lot of video packages. And one of the number one things that I was seeing on social media in regards to tonight's SmackDown is really just the format of the show, where we were getting video packages and so many video packages, entrances, and then commercial break, come back, do another set of things, commercial break again. The pacing was a little bit off tonight. I think if they reformat that and actually incorporate a little bit of what they do on NXT, because even though NXT has its, weaknesses and strength, I think in NXT right now is that they do keep a fast-paced moving show. I think they need to incorporate that a little bit more into SmackDown, because it's SmackDown. There were moments where I kind of felt like it was too repetitive, and the fact that they kept showing too many video packages kind of slowed down the momentum of the actual show. So here we go, guys. We're going to jump into our Killer Mike 375 says the video packages make the show unwatchable live. Unfortunately, if you're in the crowd and you're just sitting there waiting for you're just sitting there waiting for the moments to cheer for, the moments you want to cheer for, and you're just getting a bunch of video packages, it's obviously going to tire you out as a crowd. Trust me. All All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump into our next topic here. We got the Charlotte Flair interview, and we essentially have Michael Cole asking her if she's disappointed about her loss to Becky Lynch. And she basically points out that the referee was not good, that Becky Lynch got the win by cheating, and that this just proves that Becky Lynch is not the superior athlete, that she just got lucky. And she tells Becky Lynch that she knows that deep down she is not the better woman, and that her success is thanks to Charlotte Flair. We then have Toni Storm, who comes out and confronts the Queen, Charlotte Flair, and she essentially basically tells her that her obsession with Becky Lynch is what is essentially made for Charlotte Flair's downfall and what made her vulnerable. And this is where I really like this promo here. This was one of my favorite portions of SmackDown here tonight. I actually love this. So Toni Storm comes out. She's all brave, going up against Charlotte. And Charlotte just starts basically saying, okay, so first Toni Storm tells her, like, I'm here. If you want somebody, I'm right here. And Charlotte Flair's like, oh, that is so cute. She's mocking her. And then she tells her, I didn't even know you existed. And given the booking of Toni Storm and how they kind of had her gone, they had her appear, disappear, reappear. I think it was safe to say that Charlotte Flair could use that line, and legitimately I popped for this line. I thought that was a good heel line and kind of a dig at the fact that it kind of is true. Why should she know who Toni Storm is on SmackDown? If the story that you're telling on SmackDown is she comes in, they didn't really promote her or really show her. They didn't have her, in the tournament or anything like that. Charlotte Flair could easily say, I didn't even know you existed. So I did like that. She then goes on to tell her, hey, there's different levels. I'm on a different level than you are. Charlotte tries to take out Toni. Toni gets her, essentially getting her out of the ring. And then in the end, you see Charlotte Flair hit her with 2 pies. So there was some good promo work there. We'll see, obviously, where this continues to grow. I'm looking forward to seeing Charlotte and Toni Storm. I think this is going to finally be some usage of Toni Storm in a good way. So hopefully we see her level up just the way that we've been seeing Shotzi level up. And let's see what else we got here. Okay, Johnny says this was funny, but damn. And Mad Mercenary says Toni has been a geek from night one. It's so depressing, which is why they can't make her be a geek. Like, she got 2 pies to the face, and that literally stopped her entire momentum. I get 2 pies to the face. You bet your ass I'm throwing 2 pies back to the face. So let's go ahead and continue on, everybody. So after this, Xia Li. This is going to be interesting. Actually, before I read this, we do have a super chat from Brandon Rosen who says, just another former NXT talent humiliated by Vince. Look, they should have had her do something after the pies were thrown to her face, okay? The pies aren't some debilitating move that are not going to have her be able to move. She should have done something, right? This is not a movie. If this was done in a movie with 2 actors, usually the pie in the face is the oh my God moment, and the person doesn't do anything. But that's a movie. These are 2 wrestlers. If someone gets a pie in the face, you do something. She didn't, but I think it could have been worse. That's what I'm saying. It could have been worse. BTW, guys, once again, if you want to get your comment, your question, or your statement read on this podcast, please feel free to send in a super chat. I do get to keep 100% of all the proceeds. Also, let's get into the Xia Li promo. All right, so first of all, I had to rewind and rewatch this because I missed the part where they showed the comic book in the beginning. And because I thought we were still on a commercial break, I don't pay attention to the commercials. I'm doing other stuff. All right. So I come in here and I'm like, what is this? I'm like, is this something for WWE, or is this a commercial? A really long commercial? Well, I ended up rewatching it, and I gotta say, guys, I'm a fan of this. I like this. I don't know how you guys feel, but my gut in this is that I like it. All right, so Xia Li, essentially, from what I understood from this, is we got a comic book story. And in this story, she's narrating. She's telling a story about a bully that essentially was picking on her older brother. So that's the story here. there's a bully. She's describing the bully, and then she essentially takes out the bully. And then she kind of starts saying that she hates vultures. And she continues to reiterate this in the comic book sequence that she hates vultures. And then she says, quote, that she is the protector and the defender of those who are wronged, but she doesn't fear the wicked. She fights them. So to me, this is a babyface character. I thought they were going to bring her in as a heel, but this to me, this verbiage that they're using, that she is the protector, she's the defender of those that are wrong, and she doesn't fear the wicked. Okay, that screams babyface to me. Obviously, if she's defending people that are being picked on, etc., cool. I like that. So I feel like they're trying something different with her, something unique for her, and I like it. I like what they're doing. This kind of gives me okay, so I'm like a big Sailor Moon fan, and that was one of the things, like her, her whole intro where she talks about, the little song, fighting evil by moonlight, winning love by daylight. Dun 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 dun. She is the one named Sailor Moon. Anyways, so this reminded me of Sailor Moon in a way where she's the protector, she's a defender, etc. So I think, like, given the fact that I had that in the back of or it reminded me of that, I liked this. I'm excited to see what they do with Xia Li. Hopefully they don't kill it, so please don't kill it for me. If they keep going this way and they actually book her good, we could have something here, guys. This could be a win. But what did you guys think? Send in your thoughts, send in your comments on Xia Li. And let's see what we got here. We got 2 super chats, actually. One from Cameron Munford, who says, I really like the build-up for Xia Li, but why am I feeling like this is just a calm before the storm when she finally arrives on SmackDown? That's good, though. You want her to be the storm when she comes in. That's okay. I don't see a problem with that. If she comes in and she, wrecks havoc, that's cool as hell. Please spice up the women's division. Brandon Rosen sends in a super chat saying, Xia Li could be a badass babyface, especially with this new comic book hero gimmick. Please, WWE, give Xia a chance. I feel the fact that they gave her an actual character and put the time into creating this, there's a lot of people that don't even get this stuff. I mean, look at Rich Holland. What did they do for Rich Holland? Nothing. They didn't even do those little vignettes. Damn, Veer Mahan got more of these vignettes than freaking Rich Holland. They didn't even do that for him. All right, so if you tell me, if anything, if you're going to compare to other people, it's actually a win for Xia Li. Douglas Johnson sends in a super chat saying, so she's going to take out Vince before he can take her out. Oh, man. All right, you read way too much into it. Brandon Charles Powell sends in a super chat, says, because you sang for us, here's $5. Thanks, man. I should sing more. Also, I'm sweating bullets, everybody. James Riley sends in a super chat saying, voice of an angel. Don't be fooled. I can't sing for anything in this world. If I would have been a great singer, I wouldn't be a wrestling podcaster. I'd be a pop star. I wouldn't be a wrestling podcaster if I could sing. Thank you so much, James Riley, for the very kind super chat. We got another super chat from Cameron Munford, who says, I wasn't saying about her as a character. I'm just saying the storm being WWE screwing it up. Oh, okay. Sorry. I misunderstood your super chat. My apologies. Okay. I see what you mean. Because they're building her up and they're giving her something. And because in the past, they haven't necessarily convinced. Because of what we've seen in the past, we know that it's almost like you just can't have nice things. Like, this is why you can't have nice things, because those nice things always get ruined. Yeah, I know. Because of the precedents that has been set, we've never actually seen something really, really enjoyed. It always ends up being killed. Yeah, I get what you mean. Look, I say this all the time, and all the time I'm wrong. I always say I have hope, and then afterwards I have to come on these podcasts and talk about how I have egg on my face. So hopefully this isn't one of those situations. Zeno Hour says Denise and Maki Ito tag team when? Hell yeah. All right. Where are we at after this? Cool. All right, Xia Li. After this, we're moving on to Sasha Banks, Naomi. They teamed up tonight after after Sasha Banks essentially called out Sonya Deville, getting in her face for taking out Naomi out of the Survivor Series match, basically telling her that it was her fault that they lost. And so they kind of get into it for a second. They tease Sasha Banks, Sonya Deville, which I'm totally here for whenever Sonya Deville is going to return to the ring like full time. Here for that for whenever that happens. But we get Sasha Banks, Naomi versus Shayna and Natalya. To be honest, there's really not that much to say about this match here. There was a funny moment though between Sonya Deville and Pat McAfee. So Sonya Deville's on commentary and she's arguing with Pat McAfee, and Pat McAfee essentially says, Sonya Deville tells her, "Who do you think signs your checks?" And he's like, "What?" And she's like, "It's me." And he's like, "Oh, well, I thought it was the guy with the $100 million egg." It was kind of weird, but whatever. That was something that stood out. On the outside for the finish, we see Sasha hit the Meteora on Shayna Baszler to the outside. Then we see Naomi and Natty battle inside the ring. We see a discus clothesline from Natty to Naomi. Naomi then kicks Natty in, and then Naomi hits in. So Naomi kicks her in the head, and then she hits her with a sunset flip, and that is how she ends up getting the win. Nothing much to add there. We're already on to the main event, and then we're going to go ahead and move on to AEW Rampage. So here we go, guys. The main event. We have this Black Friday Battle Royal. Essentially, the winner getting a championship match against Roman Reigns, because this is where we're at now. There's nobody really to face off against Roman Reigns in a hot feud before we get to Drew McIntyre, okay? We know Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns is going to happen down the line, but it ain't going to happen just yet, okay? So we got to have something else, and there really isn't much else, all right? We've already covered this, but we have this Battle Royal, and we have Sami Zayn's in it, Viking Raiders, Mansoor. Please listen to the names. Let me start all over. Please listen to the names, because these are the options for who is going to be wrestling Roman Reigns for the championship. Sami Zayn, Viking Raiders, Mansoor, Mace, Angel Garza, Humberto, Jinder, Shanky, Ricochet, Jeff Hardy, Madcap Moss, Cesaro, Sheamus, Ridge Holland, Corbin, Moss, Drew Gulak. 5 of those guys that I named had matches already on this card. And if you want to count Sheamus, Sheamus was on commentary. So what I'm trying to say here, guys, is slim pickings, all right? Very, very slim pickings where none of these guys, obviously Sami Zayn ended up winning this, so good for him. But really nobody else is going. And Cesaro, Roman Reigns, done it, been there, done that. None of these guys really scream, hey, this is the obvious choice. This is the obvious pick. And it's kind of a little bit depressing, because you go back and you think about all the people that got released by the company, right? I could think of at least like 5 names that could have been more than 5 names realistically. That could have been put into this freaking Battle Royal. That could have been an actual option for a feud, a long-standing legitimate feud with Roman Reigns. But this is where we're at here. This was not. So before we even get started with the actual Battle Royal, we had a very weird moment. So Drew McIntyre was left out of this Battle Royal. He wasn't on the list. He didn't make the team. He's not going to be in the Battle Royal. So Drew McIntyre decides to throw a tantrum. He comes into the ring with his sword and he goes all crazy, swinging the sword at everybody. So obviously everybody in the Battle Royal leaves. They all leave. They all get out of the ring. Nobody wants to get killed by Angela the Sword. All right. And I'm thinking, okay, so this means they're going to put him in the Battle Royal, right? Adam Pearce comes out. He starts telling something to Drew McIntyre. It's really not that audible for us to really make out what he's saying. And then we go to commercial. So I'm thinking, all right, we're going to come back from commercial. Adam Pearce is going to say something to Drew McIntyre. Either he's going to be in it or he's not going to be in it. I don't know. Okay. So we come back and I'm expecting some sort of fallout from this. No fallout, nothing. Drew McIntyre is gone. He's not in the ring whatsoever. Nothing, nada, gone. And you're just like, what? We got all of that. Drew McIntyre coming out here being very dramatic with his sword. And there was nothing. All commentary said was that he left on his own accord. I'm sorry, but if a man comes out angry as hell with a freaking sword, threatening to take heads off with that damn sword, all of a sudden he leaves on his own accord? That doesn't make sense. That does not make sense. Anybody here, every single person watching this show right now has been pissed off, has been angry at some point in their life. When you are mad, when you are angry, you're not in your right frame of mind. You're pissed. It's going to take more than a freaking commercial to calm you down and just all of a sudden see that you're wrong and, hey, maybe I should just exit the picture out of this. No, it was not believable. But we get into this battle royal, and there really isn't that much to say. That was literally the biggest moment of the battle royal. But the final four guys were Ricochet, Sheamus, Corbin, and Jeff Hardy. And they essentially make it so that Jeff Hardy wins the match, right? Jeff Hardy wins. So everybody's celebrating, woohoo, and I'm thinking, all right, fine, that's cool. I'm good with that. But then afterwards, Sami Zayn apparently was never eliminated, and I don't even know what happened. I completely forgot about Sami Zayn. Apparently, so did everybody, but he ends up being the real winner of the Battle Royal. So he's about to get his promo victory interview with Kayla Braxton, and instead, Kayla Braxton gets breaking news in her earpiece, and the breaking news is that Brock Lesnar's suspension has been lifted, and he will be here next week on SmackDown. So there you guys go. That is SmackDown. Let's get some thoughts, and we're going to move on to Rampage here. We got a super chat from Brandon Rosen, who says, I was watching the Battle Royal, looking at each of the competitors, thinking I can't find one person here worthy of a title shot. Haj Gulashi says, list of geeks. Josh Bowen says, whatever happened with Drew? He went into the Twilight Zone. He just got sucked in and went into the Twilight Zone. Someone says I named Madcap Moss twice. Apologies if I've named him twice. My apologies. And Lord Pelagia says, realistically, the guy to unseat Roman is going to be Von Wagner, Braun Breaker, or Gable Steveson. Yeah, I mean, depending, because I know that they see a lot in Von Wagner. Braun Breaker is like, if you really were going to pick somebody, Braun Breaker feels like the best option. Gable Steveson, obviously, depending on how things go for him. Wasn't he drafted? Yeah, he was drafted on Raw. Have we seen follow-up to that? Damn, I watch Raw every week, and I can't even give you an answer, and I'm pretty sure, no, we have not seen a follow-up to that. Wow, okay, I need to bring that up on my Raw post show. All right, super chat from Douglas Johnson, who says, Drew swinging his sword is definitely a euphemism for something. It definitely is a euphemism for something. I'll let everybody here have their imagination run away with them. Thank you so much to Douglas Johnson for sending in that super chat. I really thank you very much. Alrighty, guys, let's get into AEW Rampage. Before we do, quick shout out here, or not even shout out. Sorry, guys, I'm sick. I've been on a lot of cough syrup medicine, so if I'm all over the place, pardon me. All right, next week, I will be back on here to talk NXT on Tuesday, NXT 2.0. For those of you guys who still want to talk about NXT, or if you just want to see what the hell's going on without watching the show, I'm your girl. I got you. And then Wednesdays is AEW Dynamite. That's my most popular show of the week. And then Friday, for those of you guys who don't have Friday night plans like myself, you can come in here and, talk about SmackDown and Rampage like we are today. So I'll be here. I got your back. I'm your wrestling friend. If you don't got a wrestling friend, I'm your wrestling friend. And yes, that is my new catchphrase, my new tagline. And if it's awful, I'll blame the Dayquil on that. We got a super chat from Killer Mike 375 who says, those poor live fans enduring Jeff Hardy's hope spot just to get it ruined, then find out Brock isn't going to be there tonight. Yeah, that sucks. That really sucks, actually, because obviously I don't know how many people really thought Brock Lesnar was going to be there. But when you go to the shows, guys, because it's your hometown, it's your city, you always have that what if? Like, I'm spoiled, guys. I'm from Los Angeles, so obviously the LA shows, they tend to put a little bit more oomph, a little bit more effort. They've been promoting Brock Lesnar for that show. So So for me, like, it's a little bit different. Like, I usually get like they usually go a little bit more all out for the Los Angeles crowds, but yeah, I can only imagine, like, if you're going to the show and you're hoping to see Brock Lesnar and they kind of teased it a little bit and then you don't, that kind of sucks. All right, guys. Let's get into AEW Rampage. Let's go. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 topics to talk about right now with AEW Rampage. And we're kicking it off with the opening match of the night, which was Adam Cole, Bobby Fish versus Wheeler Yuta and Orange Cassidy. All right, so this was a pretty interesting matchup, I would say. When they announced it, I was like, all right, cool. I'm excited to see Adam Cole and Bobby Fish teaming up together in action in AEW. So that was nice to see. In terms of the match itself, I think it kind of had a little bit of a slow start for a minute. It took a second to really get hot. I would say more so after the commercial. After the first commercial break that we got was when this match really started to pick up. Some of my favorite portions of this match was Bobby Fish essentially getting Yuta with a boot to the face, some really aggressive stuff. I think that's been my most favorite thing about seeing Bobby Fish in AEW is they've really been highlighting his aggressive nature. And, you know, obviously we already knew he had that. We've seen many shades of that before, but I do like seeing it unfold here. We see Yuta hit a missile dropkick on both Adam Cole and Bobby Fish. We see Orange Cassidy do a double hurricanrana on both Adam and Cole, and then a DDT on Bobby Fish. So this was a really nice sequence because you kind of saw a lot of, like good action on the team. So like you were seeing like guys, take out 2 members at once back to back, which was pretty fun to see that. We see Orange Cassidy hit a tope suicida. Yuta going for a cross body. Yuta hits a splash on Cole. He goes for the pin. It ends up being a near fall. Cole ends up hitting Orange Cassidy with a flying knee, literally straight into him. So that was really good. I thought it was over. After that spot, but it wasn't. We see Orange Cassidy hit the beach break on Adam Cole. I thought this match was okay, but it wasn't necessarily the best. And I did think that the crowd, I kind of felt like they could have helped elevate this match a little bit more. I didn't really feel like the crowd was like that invested into it. Obviously, towards the end, they were, because we had a pretty awesome finish. So the finish was essentially Bobby Fish going to the top rope and hitting that Avalanche Falcon arrow on Wheeler Yuta. So that was a pretty impactful finish. But I will say that for the match itself, it was okay. It wasn't my favorite match of the night, but the finish was probably one of my favorite finishes of the night. So I would say this match was like decent, but I'm going to forget it in a couple of weeks. So I'm not going to say it was like the greatest match out there. But guys, did you have difference of opinions? Go ahead and let me know in the comments. How did you guys feel about this match? How have you guys been feeling about what they've been doing with Bobby Fish, Adam Cole, etc.? Go ahead and send in your thoughts here. Dale says that finish was crazy. Poor Yuta. Bro, that finish was epic. That was definitely a lot of fun. Xena Hour says the match definitely picked up after the second commercial break. Michael Jefferson says, I know Cole and the Bucks are great friends and they're all together now, but to me, Undisputed Era will always be his boys. And let's see what else we got here. All right, this one's from Pomi Wrestling. It says, I really like that while Orange Cassidy and Adam Cole got to do their big spot, it was Fish and Yuta that worked the bulk of this match. Yeah, and they had some really good stuff in there, as I just mentioned a few of those there. Question the Mark points out what a brutal finish that was. Wrestle War says Bobby Fish needed that win. Also, he will be doing Lucha next week somehow. That was interesting. That's all I'll say for now. That was interesting. Would it have been my number 1 pick? No. But whatever. I'm not going to touch on that right now. All right. Let's move on to our next topic, everybody. BTW, if you are here on the show, friendly reminder, I do go live 3 times a week here on F4W Online, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Make sure you guys subscribe to F4W. We have surpassed that 80,000, I was going to say $80,000, 80,000 subscriber mark, and we are heading to that 100K. That is the goal, everybody. So make sure, if you haven't already, make sure to click that subscribe button. Nick A says, I feel like the next 4 pillars of AEW are Dante, Garcia, Wheeler, and Moriarty. I can't argue with Lee Moriarty. I can't argue with Dante. And I can't argue with Garcia. I think Wheeler so because he hasn't, I think out of all of those names, he hasn't had as strong of a push as some of those other guys. So I would probably say so for Wheeler Yuta. I would probably say that the other 3 were a little bit stronger in terms of like how AEW has been booking them so far. But I mean, that's all debatable, guys. And it's still we're still focusing on the current 4 pillars of AEW. So maybe we're jumping ahead with the next 4 pillars of AEW. All right, guys, we're moving on. So we got an interview with Tony Nese backstage with Tony Schiavone. So the 2 Tonys. All right, shout out to the Tonys. If we have any Tonys on this live stream right now, please make your presence be known. This is a Tony Appreciation Minute. We got a super chat from Reductive92 who says, do you think there's going to be, or they're building to a Civil War storyline between the Elite, Cole and Fish, maybe Kyle if he joins AEW? It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Kyle O'Reilly. I definitely think that there is going to essentially be some sort of, demise between the Elite and Adam Cole and Bobby Fish and all of those guys. There has to be. I think at some point it's going to happen. Things aren't going to be, happy forever. And we already saw, like, even, I think it was, the night after AEW Full Gear when they went into Dynamite, right off the bat, we saw that, like, a little bit of friction between Kenny Omega and Adam Cole, where Kenny Omega kind of didn't really want to, be BFFs right in that moment with Adam Cole. So you did see that tease there. So we'll continue to see that, I'm sure. Thank you so much to Reductive92 for sending in that super chat. Once again, guys, if you do want to get your comment, question, or statement read on the air, feel free to send in a super chat. But anyways, Tony Nese, Tony Schiavone, the Tonys. So Tony Nese has been being shown in the crowd a couple of times now, where he's sort of scouting the talent, but it really wasn't totally clear what he was doing there. But this time it was finally revealed officially that he's there scouting the competition. And basically he says that he has decided to make his debut by competing for the TNT Championship and answering that open challenge that Sammy Guevara has for that TNT title. Now, one of the things that I did like from this, because the second he started saying that, I thought, well, this isn't new. This is nothing different. We just saw Jay Lethal just did that. So I did like that immediately after he said that, he addressed the people that have answered the open challenge for Sammy Guevara and basically said that, that he addressed them. So he addressed that other people have tried to do this exact same thing, but that all of those other guys weren't him. They weren't the talent that he is. So I like that he put himself over in that way. I thought that Tony Nese came across as pretty impressive during this promo. And that's saying a lot because I really wasn't familiar with too much of what Tony Nese can do in terms of like all of that. So for me, this felt like, this felt new for me. This felt definitely new. But Sammy Guevara confronts him and basically says that he's not going to be taking criticism from a guy who hasn't done anything. And so it is official. We're going to get Tony versus Sammy next week for the TNT Championship. So this will be fine. This is going to be a real test, I think, for Tony Nese and see how he can essentially... I think this is going to be a test because he's going to have to win over the fans here. This is obviously going to be, I know he's been doing the AEW Dark stuff, but this is essentially like the big test for him. So a lot of people are going to be deciding whether or not they like Tony Nese once he wrestles Sammy Guevara. And Sammy's been having really good matches since becoming TNT champion. So he's on fire right now. So hopefully they keep that streak going. Any thoughts on this, everybody here? Wrestle War says Sammy's title run will be all about new matches. And I don't mind it. Like, I like seeing new matches, but there's so many matches that we haven't seen with Sammy. and like a bunch of other guys on AEW, especially obviously on their flagship show Dynamite. In terms of, obviously he was doing the inner circle stuff for such a long time where he wasn't getting all these opportunities on Dynamite or Rampage to have all of these singles matches. So now we're finally getting to see that. And they are against a bunch of, new guys. But so far his run has been pretty freaking decent. And let's see if we got any other thoughts, guys. Please go ahead and send in your thoughts if you have any, and I will go ahead and pull these out. Lord Pelagius says, Tony Khan clearly just wants a stable of Tonys. Go Tonys. All right. Let's see. All right, we're going to go ahead and jump into our next topic here, guys. All right, so after this, we had one of my favorite matches of the night. I would say this was my second favorite match of the night, and that was Riho versus Dr. Britt Baker DMD. I forgot what they were calling this, the Black Friday something, right? Damn, I forgot what they were calling this match. Anyways, point is here, Riho was never eliminated during that AEW All-Out Casino Battle Royale. And essentially, there was never any justice for that. No one ever said anything. Obviously, the fans did, but there was really no actual, formal, there was no justice done yet in terms of the storyline, okay? So finally, at this past Dynamite at Friendsgiving, it's finally brought up. Tony Schiavone tells Britt Baker, hey, this is what went down, and now she has a match against you, and if she beats you at AEW Rampage, then she will be getting herself a title shot. So, okay, cool. I'm wondering either she's going to get the title shot or she's not going to get the title shot. I was expecting Riho to get the win here, but I don't know if I necessarily expected the win the way that it came. But either way, I liked this match, guys. I don't know how you guys felt about it, but I definitely liked this match. So Riho essentially kicked off this match by working the left arm of Britt. She ended up hitting her with several punches. Then Britt tried to get her with the lockjaw, but Riho was super fiery. She was very aware of what was going on and what Britt was trying to do, and she made sure to not get stuck into that situation. Then things kind of were a little bit unfair for Riho during this match because Britt Baker has her two, besties out on the outside, and she has Rebel and Jamie Hayter essentially choking out Riho when Britt Baker was distracting the referee. So you saw a lot of unfairness here. So you really had to see Riho. She kind of overcame a lot of these obstacles that were thrown into her during this match here. Also, we do get to see some cool spots. We see Riho go to the top rope. She hits a crossbody. She takes out all three women on the outside of the ring. Once we're back into the ring, we see Britt essentially stomp the hell out of Riho. Then she literally grabs her face and just starts smashing her face right into the turnbuckle. I really liked that. And one of my favorite things that I did like that commentary did to push the story further is that commentary made sure to mention that Riho has not, that Britt has not been able to defeat Riho in a singles action. And I really did like that. I like that they mentioned that because even I had kind of forgotten that. So I did like that they mentioned this and really pushed that in the story here. Afterwards, we see Britt hit the air raid crash. She goes for the pin, but it's a two count. And then afterwards, Britt misses a stomp. She tries to go for a stomp. She misses it. And Riho ends up hitting her with a Northern Lights. She ends up hitting a double foot stomp and from the top rope. And she ends up getting the win during this match. So Riho is now going to get a match against Britt Baker for the AEW World Women's Championship. Now, do I think Riho is going to win? No, but now this gives us another match, I guess you can say, another competitor for Britt Baker, especially because right now so much of the women's division is focusing on that TBS Women's Championship tournament. So I think it's pretty cool to see this match with Riho and Britt Baker. But honestly, I did like this match. I thought that it's been a while since, you can say it's kind of been a while since we've seen Riho in this, in a match that you can say is more of a high profile match than some of the other matches that she's recently been in. So this was good for her. Good stuff all around. What did you guys think? I know a lot of people did not like Riho essentially defeating Britt Baker either. So what did you guys think about this? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Send in some thoughts here. This one's from Peter, who says, I expected Riho to get the win due to interference from Jamie, given that Britt screwed her up in her TBS match. Exactly. I completely agree. I just don't think a lot of people expected the win the way that it did come here. Pomi Wrestling says, a bit mixed on a champion being pinned, but the match was good, and it's only the fourth time it's happened this year, so I don't mind too much. Rematch will probably be at Winter is Coming. Zeno Mauer says, I have to be honest, I respect Riho as a performer, but I can't connect with her. She's good. I just don't see what makes her special. What am I missing? I like Riho. I like Riho. I think that she's fun in the ring. I think that she, when she's in there, with good competitors, she also has a good competitive match. She's very likable. I think that's what it is. That Riho is very likable. When she comes out into the ring, like she's really cute, she's adorable, and you just can't help but to feel like, oh, I like her. She comes across as she doesn't come across. I don't know how to explain it. She doesn't come across as a way where you're like, oh, I don't like her. Like you just automatically like her. That's my personal opinion of Riho. And she goes into the ring. I think she holds her ground there. Okay. She holds her ground. And that's what I like. And, MCAS says Riho is so over and she doesn't need to say a word. Exactly. Riho's over. And then obviously, she always will be the first, ever AEW World Women's Champion. So she always has that too. That automatically, lends credibility to her. Right off the bat. So good for her on that. Darth says Riho and Britt had a great match. Riho is so likable. Maybe their title match will be at Winter is Coming special, ? A couple of people have mentioned that already. So I guess that may seem like the direction in which we're heading in. Let's see what we got here, guys. We got a comment from Nick A, who says, I think a big issue with the women's division in AEW is that there isn't an advocate backstage like Gail for Impact or Mickey with NWA. Maria Kanellis might be a great person to fit that role. I think that's you could argue that too. I do think that there needs to be AEW has been doing. There was a lot of criticism towards AEW's women's division, a lot of criticism because they weren't really doing much. We all remember when Shida was champion and she's literally had the longest reign and they didn't really even do much with that. And, so few women's matches, et cetera, et cetera. But ever since we got that Britt Thunder Rosa match, they really have, been making more of an effort. And they do now have the TBS Women's Championship Tournament, have been putting in a lot of effort into that. So you have been seeing these big changes, but I still think that there could be more done to improve the women's division. And one of those, I would definitely say, we've been seeing more and more matches, but I would definitely, don't just do the one match, add more than one match to a card for the women. I still think that they should have brought in people that are a little bit more experienced, women that are a little bit more experienced into AEW. I think that could help a lot of, they have Ruby Soho and, people like that. But I do think that they could have a little bit more just to kind of work with those other girls that aren't at that level yet. So they still could do a lot of things to help and improve that women's division, but they are at least making an effort versus not making an effort. So that's why I'm like, all right, we're seeing some changes be made and we've seen a lot of changes be made. So now it's just a matter of keeping that consistent and growing from there. They need to continue growing from there, I would say. 554K sends in a super chat saying it was a good match and I'm not the biggest fan of them, but I like the match. Also, I like your content and reading your tweets. It makes me very happy. Thank you so much, guys. My Twitter is apparently a lot of people come up to me at shows and they tell me they like my Twitter account. So if you haven't followed me on Twitter, you can definitely do so. Thank you so much to 554K for putting that over. If you haven't followed me on Twitter, go right now at _ Denise Salcedo. I'm also so close to hitting 50K. I am literally at 44,600, I think. I'm so close to 50K. So if you haven't followed, go over there and hit that follow button. It would really help me out a whole lot. Let's see what we got here. AFC in TP says another Serena Deeb type would be a big addition for sure. I do hope that in terms of, and let me pull up this release list, guys. Hold on a second. I'm gonna pull up the releases list that I have. All right, and looking at this and some of the women that were released that could be a great asset to AEW, Ember Moon. Ember Moon has a unique look. She is athletic. Her matches are entertaining. She would be a big addition to the AEW roster. Frankie Monet. Frankie Monet is literally, you can argue she is one of the best female wrestlers out there. Excuse me, one of the best female wrestlers out there. So she's definitely somebody that could, just like Ember Moon, add so much. And she's somebody that, if you're looking for talent to continue, to elevate your champions, I'm always talking about elevating your champions. Can you imagine like Frankie Monet and Britt Baker, Frankie Monet and Ruby Soho, Frankie Monet and Jade Cargill, Frankie Monet and Thunder Rosa, and so many other people that I'm not listing right now. There's a lot to be had there. And then some other women that I'm looking at here. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just going through this list really quickly. There's a lot of names here. I'm like, where are the women's names? And I mean, obviously, like Mickie James, she's already doing stuff with Impact. Chelsea Green, she's already doing stuff with Impact too. Billy and Peyton, they're doing stuff with Impact. Lana, looks like she's doing, other stuff. People have been wondering whether or not she's going to come in. B-Fab, I don't know what's going to go down with B-Fab. She's a good character. They could probably, if they were going to use her, they could use her as a character, not necessarily as a wrestler, so I probably wouldn't go there. But yeah, there you go. Those were some of the couple of the names of people that they have. Oh, thank you so much. Nick A also brings up Roxy. Exactly. Roxy is another person too. But anyways, let's go ahead and continue on with what we were talking about here. All right, so anyways, Riho is going to be getting that match against Britt Baker. Really quickly, let's go over the matches that they announced for Dynamite next week. We have Cody Rhodes versus Andrade in an Atlanta street fight. I think this is going to be good. We've been seeing a lot of great stuff with Andrade. The people hate Cody Rhodes, so I think there's going to be a nice, playful interaction between the crowd and Cody. And every time Andrade does like something sickening to Cody, you just know the crowd's going to react. Bryan Danielson versus Alan Angel should be a nice, fun, decent match there. Billy and Colton Gunn versus Sting and Darby. Okay. I mean, Sting and Darby, cool. The TBS Women's Tournament continues. Chris Statlander versus Ruby Soho. I'm definitely expecting to see Ruby Soho get the win here. And then matches announced for next Friday on Rampage. We got Sammy Guevara versus Tony Nese. Again, that's going to be a big test for Tony Nese, see how he fares well and how the AEW audience ends up feeling with him. And then this is an interesting one, guys. A very interesting one. So we got the AEW World Tag Team titles on the line. 2 out of 3 falls, the Lucha Brothers versus FTR. And this is interesting because they are wrestling each other the next day at Triple Mania Regia. So for the Triple A belt. So talk about rematches, guys. Here's the thing. AEW has not done rematches like a lot, but this is one that at this point, Lucha Bros and FTR, I know they are great together, but at this point, we've seen it a lot. We saw it when they did the FTR as the Super Ranas, whatever the hell they were going by with the freaking costumes where they were pretending to be luchadors against the Lucha Bros. We saw them at freaking Full Gear, and then we saw them, we're going to see them again. So I do think at some point, like, we got to cut the line there, guys. Cut it, buddy. It kind of feels like it sticks out like a sore thumb that we're seeing this match again on Rampage, and then we're seeing it again at Triple Mania Regia. Now, I know not everybody's going to watch Triple Mania, but still, the point's there. Anyways, and all right, guys. We're going to go ahead and jump into the final main event, which was my favorite match of the night. Before we do got a super chat from 554K who says, also, my super chats will have messages now. I have learned how it works now. You're the first person I have used super chats on. I thank you very, very much for them, guys. I thank every person who tunes into the show. I'm one of the few channels that reads non-super chat comments as well, because I know that not everybody can send in super chats, but if you do send them in, I really, really thank you for them. But even if you just come into the show and literally just clicking on the show really means a lot to me. Like, legitimately means a lot to me. Eddie Kingston versus Daniel Garcia. This was my favorite match of the night. Really fun stuff that we saw here. This was a really nice way in which we got to see Daniel Garcia really for a lot of this match dominate against Eddie Kingston with his technical prowess. And that's what I really liked. The fact that we throughout this match got to see Daniel Garcia sort of, bring his A game against somebody like Eddie Kingston. This was really fun. At the top of this, you see Eddie Kingston stomp down Daniel Garcia. You see 2.0 coming to Daniel Garcia's rescue, pulling him out of the ring. Obviously, this does not end well with Eddie Kingston. He essentially takes out both members of 2.0. Garcia is then able to get the advantage back into the ring, literally shoving his foot right on Eddie Kingston, hitting him with a couple of strikes. And then we do see later on in this match, Garcia locking a really nice heel hook on Eddie Kingston, hitting him with several punches. That was pretty nice too. Eventually, we see Eddie Kingston hitting a nice suplex. We see both of them exchange strikes back and forth. And Daniel Garcia kind of ends up getting the best out of him in that strike exchange, which I really liked. They gave Daniel Garcia a lot in this match. And then Kingston ends up hitting him with a spinning back fist for the win. We all knew Eddie Kingston was going to walk out winning this match, but they gave Daniel Garcia a whole lot and really made him look like he's already been looking good, but they made him look even better. When you have a win over when you're able to get a good amount of offense on a competitor like Eddie Kingston, who is literally one of the top guys in AEW, and you're able to hang in there with him and really kind of put his really kind of bring his, really put him to the limit, test his limits and see how far Eddie Kingston can handle Daniel Garcia. You saw that throughout this match. So I kind of feel like they gave him a lot to the point where you're like, you got to really start taking Daniel Garcia seriously, even like more so after this match. So getting all of that, dominance over Eddie Kingston really proved a lot. Came out as a win, even though he didn't technically win the actual match. Afterwards, 2.0 attacks Eddie Kingston, and Jericho leaves the commentary booth and goes out to help out Eddie Kingston. And that's pretty much how that essentially closes out AEW Rampage. So it was like a decent show. Probably not one of the strongest episodes of Rampage, in my opinion. I think there's been some other ones that I really enjoyed a little bit more, but there was still a lot of good wrestling with the main event and also the women's match, which I mentioned, and a decent opening match as well. And then I hope I'm not missing anything. No, I think I covered all of that. Alrighty, guys, let's get some thoughts in here. See how you guys felt about Eddie Kingston and Daniel Garcia. Jonathan Rendon says, Daniel shined in this match. Daniel still won in this loss. That is a very good way of putting it there. And the Centrovert says Kingston was selling that knee like a pro. And yeah, I agree. We got a comment from AFC who says, who would have thought that whenever Rise 2.0 were released from NXT that they'd be involved in angles with Sting, John Moxley, CM Punk, Chris Jericho by the end of the year? What a few months they've had. Dude, that's legit. I mean, I'm sorry, but I saw Ever Rise as geeks. On NXT, man, they were geeks. Even when they came into AEW, I was a little bit like, really? All right, I'll trust you guys, but let's see. Because I only knew their work from NXT. So for me, I was kind of like, I wasn't completely sold on the idea, but I gotta say, when you put those guys in with all of those people that you just mentioned, you start to see things a little bit differently. So I definitely saw a different version of them that I had not seen before. And let's see what we got. Anything else that I hope I did not miss here? And I think I got pretty much most of everything here, guys. But we got some good stuff overall. That is the show, everybody. That was SmackDown. That was AEW Rampage. I hope you guys had a really good time. Please make sure to come back next week. Tuesdays, I chat NXT 2.0. If NXT 2.0 is not your cup of tea, but you still want to stay up to date and find out what the hell is going on that show, you guys can come into the post show and I will give you the full 411. Then on Wednesdays, I am live talking about AEW Dynamite. That is my most popular show of the week. People love to chat Dynamite, so make sure you guys come on in. And then Friday nights, come hang out with your bestie, Denise Salcedo. We're besties now, in case you missed the intro. Alrighty, guys, there you go. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Thanksgiving weekend. Do not forget to subscribe to F4W Online, and I will see you guys next week. Goodbye, everybody.